welcome to another episode of Enter the Nerdom. And we're here with
Stan Warren,
Watson Bradshaw.
And I'm Chad Cook, obviously. And we're back again to talk everything about everything nerd under the sun. We're going to cover everything nerdy. And
is Jack Nicholson
yeah,
stop by?
My number one guy. I guess what should we start with? Do you want to start with a movie?
I mean, there's been a lot of stuff that's happened the last couple times last time we met. We just finished up the last episode of Last of Us,
episode 5.
So we watched episode 4 and 5. Chad, what'd you think of 4 and 5? You just watched 5, right?
Yes,
now,
I just watched 5 now. I like 5 a bit more than 4 because it was obviously 4 was setting up what was going to take place in 5. And I thought the city looked great, like the art, detail of like the dystopian city there looked amazing, and I felt that how we got Joel and Ellie's version in part 4, and then we had Henry and Sam in part 5, and then it showed them meeting up, and I always like that when a show can do that and give us both perspectives and stuff. But I had no problem with it. I've heard a lot of people were kind of like, on it,
How did
they were on Kathleen's character,
that's the main focus. And how I took it, how I kind of read her character, especially in this episode 5, when she's in the beginning speaking to all the traders, it felt like a disappointed mom talking to little kids, like she's like, oh, that's just it doesn't matter. You're all guilty anyway. Right. It's like, whatever they say. And I was like, okay, she's kind of going at it like a mother scorned type of way. And like, she's lost her brother.
It's very, can I see your manager energy?
Yes.
Yeah. But she's not yelling, she never yells,
no.
which is disconcerting a lot. So it's like, okay, she's very like calm.
Yeah.
But she's like, yeah, I know I should forgive, but I'm not gonna.
And then she gives a very ruthless order just to execute the people who were in prison.
Yeah.
She just sends them in there, just like, don't worry about it. You do some time, that'll be it. And then she tells her men to go in there and just basically execute the people.
Well, even the way she talks to her men is like, oh, is this my number 7 priority?
Yeah.
Right.
It's so great. I love it.
Yeah, it was well done. When we watched the episode just right now, the opening scene of episode 5 is the Fireflies have risen up against Fedra.
Well, no,
they're taken over the quarantine zone.
They're not Fireflies. They're like,
they're different. They're whatever they are.
Yes.
They're resistance to Fedra in that area. Yeah. And so the opening scene of episode 5 is them torturing and killing the federal soldiers that have surrendered.
Well, they do tell you that like Fedra in Kansas City
was one of the worst.
For 20 years just brutalizing people.
Right.
So of course, because you'd watch that and go like, I don't know if regular people would act that way, but after 20 years of being brutalized, of course they're going to be brutal back.
Yeah, it was something. It was unsettling me just in general because being in the Army like I was and just treating soldiers who have surrendered.
Yeah.
Right. And you're not supposed to execute and treat and torture them after they've surrendered. So it was a little unsettling to me. But like they said in the episode later on, Kansas City, Fedra was known outside of the quarantine zone for being brutal. So I mean that's how bad they were. That other quarantine zones knew how bad Kansas City was.
Well, and also with they're not. They're a militia, they're regular folk that have just been pushed to the edge. They don't have any, we don't know, but they don't seem to have any military training. Mm-hmm. They're just, or any, there's no rules to this war. It just is, they're going to be as brutal as they were, to them. So it's an eye for an eye kind of at that point.
It's almost like that, I forget the name of the experiment, the college experiment where half the kids in the class are guards.
Oh, the prison, the prison experiment. Yeah.
I mean, if you're locked in a compound like that with, civilians, and then there's the authority, that's gonna. I'm surprised it didn't happen in Joel's, compound. But the fact that, I guess they just didn't care there, and they were left alone in Kansas, and it's the South. But hey. I'm not saying if anybody from the South listens, hey, that was just, I'm from dirty Jersey, so I can't really.
Yeah, it's not much better.
We have corrupt police officers, so I don't, but yeah, no, to think, would I execute? I mean, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I can't really put myself in the situation.
Like they said, like Watson said, they had mentioned in the show that they had brutalized and raped and tortured people for 20 years. So after, there's a breaking point that people have that they're eventually they're going to rise up, which they did, and they're going to exact the same toll on the people who did this for 20 years that as was done to them.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of saw it with like the fall of Iraq, when we took over and just the Iraqi people, like brutalization happened on that scale.
Yeah, sure.
And the fact that she had all the traitors killed, I mean, those are your neighbors, and then you find out they betrayed you. Like,
right?
There would be this malice. I would have, like, you couldn't just let them. I mean, I guess you could have let them leave the city, and then they get killed by the infected or whatever.
Oh, she has like a zero tolerance.
Yeah, she did not.
Right.
Yeah, no one escapes. So that's a hard situation to deal with there.
Yeah. So they introduced Henry and Sam in episode 4 and 5, and they're two brothers. It's from the game.
Yes.
Yeah. And so they're two brothers who have. Well, Henry is obviously much older, and he was part of the collaborators. Within the Kansas City Fedra, and he has a much younger brother who's like 10.
I think it was 9.
8.
8.
8. And so they're trying to escape the city, and they run into Ellie and Joel, who have tried to make their way past the city and are trying to get past, but they were ambushed by, I guess, militia members of the resistance, which was kind of it was funny to me because they attack Ellie and Joel's truck unprovoked.
That's
throw
true.
a cinder block onto the windshield, make them crash, shoot at them, and then they're like, "How dare they shoot back and kill two of our guys?" Now we got to go after them. So it's like, well, they're kind of just defending themselves.
Yeah, because the head, her second in command, reported back to her like,
Perry.
they killed Perry. Yeah, they said
Brian.
they killed Brian. Like they didn't say, "Oh, we were trying to."
Yeah, well,
rob
Brian
them.
attacked these people and then they shot back.
Right.
So, but yeah, so then they're able to sneak up on Joel and Ellie as they're sleeping, and then they ask him, Henry's like, "Oh, I have this great plan. We can make our way out of the city using the tunnels that there are no infected in." And although Kathleen and the militia thinks that there are infected in there, but I know they're because being a collaborator and being kind of an insider with Fedra like he was,
right?
He knows that there's no infected in the tunnel, so they're able to make their way down there.
Which I thought there were going to be infected in the tunnel.
I thought there'll be a lot more of a
1,000%.
sequence down in the tunnel
especially because the scene in episode 4 where Perry and Kathleen are looking in the room, and then
you see the floor
kind of goes.
Right.
I was like, oh shit! So when they go down there, they're gonna run into like a horde.
So, do you guys think that was a bloater, or was that just
trying to get through the floor?
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
It could be. I mean, you just kind of assume that there's a lot of infected under there.
Right.
Yeah,
which I also didn't get because Kathleen was like, "We're not going to tell our people until after we find Henry." I was like, "No, tell them now, dude.
Yeah.
There's an issue here that we have to address. Like, I think you can spare a couple people to sit on this room and make sure,
no, definitely,
and let us know what's going on,
or at least
here,
detonate.
Which is kind of stupid.
Like,
bring the building down. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it.
But
Yeah,
that's
bring
the
the building
thing.
down.
Her priorities are so out of whack that even at the end, when Perry's like, run and hide, she won't do it. She wants revenge that bad.
Yeah, her revenge is consumed.
It takes her out in the end because she was just blinded by it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think at that point she's not thinking about the people because any leader at that point would be like, okay, we're not Fedra, how we're feeding these people, how we're clothing. Yeah,
right.
That's not an issue. She wants to get Henry.
Right, exactly. Let that go, and just try to move on past it.
I don't
because even her brother. She says her brother said, "Forgive Henry."
Yeah.
Let
I
it
don't
go.
think she ever really wanted to be a leader. I think she just wanted to get revenge for her brother.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And the fact that Perry even said, he's like, hey, your brother acted the way he did, but he didn't do anything.
Nothing got done for 20 years.
And then you freed us. You're the one, so we're here to follow you.
Yeah,
so.
and I know a lot of people online were giving the actress a lot of shit about that. Like, why they would never follow. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter what somebody looks like or what what their background is. If you believe in them enough that you think that they know what they're doing, you're gonna follow them.
And if it comes with any success or progress, obviously it was like, all right, well, we're actually doing something. We're moving in the right direction, at least in my or in that personal aspect. Of course, I'll follow.
Right,
I'll do what you want. I don't know if I'd be like, oh yeah, no, I'll just murder these people for you. Like, I mean, that's where I'd probably be like, you know. But no, I do get why people were not really on board with her portraying that character, but I thought she sold it in her own way, and I think it worked. So, but plus with the way she talked about kids, like it's like kids die all the time.
She's
I was like,
very
damn.
cold.
I was like,
so cold.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit, yeah.
So
I mean, and that's understandable in that world being. And this isn't like this hasn't been a year or two since the fall. It's been 20 years.
Yeah.
So people are going to be hardened over the years.
Well, especially
when I love, she's like, "Does the whole world revolve around this one kid?" And to Henry, it does.
Right.
Yeah.
You know that his brother is his whole world. And I watched an interview with the creators of the show, and they talked about the idea of making Sam deaf.
Oh yeah,
and how it really it makes their bond so special because they speak a language that not a lot of people do anymore, especially in that world.
Yeah.
American Sign Language.
So that's what bonds them even closer. Is like, okay, like Henry's the only one that can interpret for Sam.
Yeah,
you know. So yeah, like that is their whole world, and I think Henry knows that. Of like, if I go, like, who's gonna take care of my brother? Like, no one can, and no one can understand what he needs. You know.
Well, and going off that sort of, that kind of relates to Bill's letter from the previous episode in 3, saying, you know, we're here to protect. That's what we're here to protect.
Yeah.
And I mean, Bill did the same thing. He killed himself because the person he was protecting is dying.
Yeah,
and then
he didn't have a purpose after that.
Then Henry lost his purpose, so that's why he committed suicide.
Yeah.
And I was just like, just like, geez. But the weird thing is, Joel, he lost his daughter, but he kept going those 20 years. And
well, you know, you find hobbies.
I mean,
he says he found Tess.
Yes, he found Tess.
So that could be like his other, like, I guess, protector.
Well, he was also protecting his brother, he said,
and his brother,
too. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so I forgot about that.
Right. And so, so we see that eventually that Joel and Ellie and Henry and Sam have made it outside of Kansas City into the suburbs, and just as they're about to cross over the bridge to get out of the city and continue to make it west, they run into a sniper that's up in a building.
Yeah.
They get pinned down for a second.
Yeah.
And then Joel's able to go up into the sniper's nest and into the building where he's at and take him out. But then we see that he's actually communicating with Kathleen and her militia, and they show up. And that's when all hell breaks loose.
Oh, man.
Even more so than how it already has.
That action sequence was awesome. I love the truck with the
I think
plow.
it's the most infected we've seen.
Yeah.
Since like episode
For
2
a
at
while,
least, right?
yeah.
So
other than when Tess got taken,
Right.
that was like the most we've seen.
Right.
and just seeing how fast this infection can spread.
Yeah.
You know, and how like you can see how cities got overrun.
Yeah.
Right.
Real quick because you just see that horde just take off and take out a group of of guys shooting at them.
Yeah,
It's insane.
armed people who were probably seasoned fighters. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they come up
With
out of the
endless
ground.
ammo.
Yeah. Somehow they had endless ammo, but whatever. I'll let that go. Because as soon as they come up out of the ground, this group of soldiers, of resistance fighters, just empties magazines into them, as you would do in that situation, I suppose. But you run out of ammo very quickly. And they only had 30-round magazines, so that's not feasible. Anyway,
Well, it's controlled fire. You need a controlled fire.
Short
headshots.
And then, short control bursts.
Yeah.
In that situation, you probably would go full auto, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then finally, we see a bloater come up out of the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's this massive hulking thing. But earlier, Watson, you were saying that it's an actual suit, right?
Yeah, I saw on Instagram they posted the actual suit testing and everything. It looks gorgeous. I mean, just having the pustules and
How tall was the guy?
he's pretty big.
Probably like 6'7" or something.
He's got to be a stunt guy, but it's the one bit in the show though that made me go, "Oh, this is a video game, though."
Yeah.
Like, the show is so kind of grounded, and then it's like I think Chad was saying boss fight, and it's,
Right.
it's true. It's like the bloater comes up, you're like, "Oh yeah, this is a video game."
Well,
it does. Yeah, you're right.
Part of me, I forget if the bloater is it. In the game, the bloater spit spores, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so since they got rid of the spore thing, it was just gonna manhandle people.
Right. In the game, it's really armored up too. So
it is. Yeah.
But
and remember in the second episode, Allie asked about that. She says, "Is it true that they have infected that shoot spores?" At you?
Yeah.
And they're like, "Gee, I hope not."
Yeah.
So they eliminated that in this bloater, but it still is this hulking, like unstoppable thing that runs up to Perry and literally tears his head off.
I can only imagine the amount of work it went into that suit, that has to come back again. Like I would assume
we're gonna see more.
There's got to be
and as fun as that was, the scariest section for me was the little girl clicker.
Yeah.
Whoopee.
Which is it's so early in the episode they were underground in a kind of like maintenance tunnels, but you see that there were survivors down there.
Oh,
there was children.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about that.
Right, so there's murals of like painted like what looks like kids painted like kids under 10.
Yeah,
and then we see the little girl. We don't know what happened to the people that are down there.
Yeah.
There's no bodies or anything, but all of a sudden we see this little girl who's in like these pajamas.
Yeah,
and she's infected. She's the infected that kind of goes in the truck after Ellie, and it's just like, oh shit, that's probably one of the kids that was in the because they were already underground.
Yep.
And so a lot of those people that are coming up out of the ground were probably also part of that community. Yeah. So it was pretty. I like how they tied that together.
No, that was. I mean, I can only imagine if the Fedra pushed them out of the tunnels.
Oh yeah.
And more into that little town area.
Oh yeah, because they said that Fedra cleaned out the tunnels like 3 years ago.
Yes.
So they didn't kill them, but they like somehow sealed it off.
There is a timeline when they're affected, right? So it takes a little while before you're a clicker, before you're a bloater. Right. So it's like it could be 3 years sounds about right for that little girl to get to that stage.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. I love that way that actress moved though. How she kind of jumped in. They still have the bloater. I mean, the clicker move is perfect as they kind of twitch and she contort as they.
Well, and I love that it's different than something like The Walking Dead. It's different than anything we've really seen.
Yeah.
In terms of like because we've seen so many different types of zombie infection kind of things, and you go, how do you spice it up a little? And having this weird contortion to their bodies, where it's like it does feel unnatural.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
Going off of you saying the Z word, that wasn't allowed on set. They were only allowed to say infected, just because to keep that mentality off of like, you guys aren't zombies.
Well, they're not zombies.
They aren't. Yeah. But I was like, oh, I'm glad that was like kept to that, because I hate when people confuse infected with zombies, and it's just like, I understand it slips. It's fine. That's the thing. But I'm a nerd, and I gotta clarify, But look like you were about to turn.
No, I was just I was thinking, because they are technically alive, but you don't see these people age, right? Like they don't age after you get infected.
True.
So I was just wondering, like, well, are they alive? Are they dead?
I think they say in the game that they're technically alive, and the fungus keeps it. The fungus eats from them. They eat. It basically eats.
They slowly eats from them as they.
Yeah, and so eventually they do die, and that's when they die. That's when the fungus continues to spread, and they're like,
that's when they're on the walls.
Right. I guess it probably depends on how healthy the person was who was infected. That probably has a lot to do with it.
I mean, the little girl, I'm surprised she lasted that long to be like a clicker, or I mean, was she making the clicking noise?
She was. Oh, she was. She came into the car.
She certainly had the growth in her head.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Because part of me was thinking, I thought she was just slowly, how some of them have the mushroom sticking out, but she did have the clicker face thing on there. So
this was their attempt at like mushroom face Megan, I think. Like
they
want to make that a meme.
Twerking.
Yeah, exactly.
I did see her twerking earlier before she attacked.
Doing that weird spin on the chair.
But yeah, that little girl must have been like a ballerina or
she was good. She had really good control of her body. Yeah. I got a comment on Joel's choice of weapons.
Oh yes,
please do. In episode 3, so excuse me, episode 4. So at the end of episode 3, we see Ellie and Joel. They get to Bill and Frank's compound once they've already passed away, right? Mm-hmm. Once they've checked out, and they go into the bunker, and Bill in his bunker has literally a wall of guns.
Yeah. It's the scene from The Matrix when the racks of guns show up, right?
Yes. Or the scene from that movie Tremors, where those two who just have a whole row of guns.
I love that movie.
That's a great movie.
I love that movie.
And that's basically Bill's people right there, right? So he literally has a wall of guns. Mm-hmm. And what does he take? He takes a bolt action mini Ruger, which is like the Ruger's. It's a good weapon, but it's a bolt action. And for those of you who may not know what a bolt action is, it's whenever you see somebody have a rifle and they have to pull back on the bolt to eject the round and then slam it forward again to chamber another round. That's called bolt action. So every time you fire, you got to do that manual thing with the bolt, which is just like, it's like a hunting rifle kind of thing. And automatic is obviously if you squeeze the trigger and bullets fly out. A semi-automatic, every time you squeeze the trigger, it does that. It completes that cycle for you, the weapon, right? But a bolt action, you have to manually empty the shell and rechamber it, right, using the bolt. That's why it's called bolt action. Which, go ahead.
No. I finished because I had something to go off of why he probably chose.
I have a feeling. I think I know what you're getting at.
Okay.
I think a bolt action has a lot of power behind it, which is why they're still kind of made. Which is why they're in high-powered hunting rifles, right? But like that's literally all he takes. He has his revolver, which I got issues with revolvers, but he takes his revolver, and he takes that bolt action mini Ruger, which is a powerful gun. But I believe that one fires a 30-06, if I'm not mistaken, which is a powerful round. It's a hunting to take down bucks and things like that, deer. And but that's it. That's all. It seems like that's all he takes. He doesn't take, like, I saw a couple semi-automatic rifles up there. He doesn't take that. I saw an M1 Garand up there, which was used in World War II by American soldiers, which is a very, very good weapon. But that's all he takes. I mean, maybe Bill was out of ammunition. I doubt it. True. But I would think that because he was a smuggler and a trader, I would think that he would have taken additional weapons just to maybe trade along the road. Like, hey, I don't have any ammo for it, but here's a weapon that I can trade. Or, here's
Bill and Frank traded
guns. Yeah, exactly. So they traded guns. Maybe they traded all the ammunition out, but you still think, well, it's still a weapon. It's still worth something. Yeah. I could trade it for like a bag of rice or something like that. You never know. So, but that's all he takes, and it's just like, what the fuck was he thinking there? I don't know. And
you would have loaded that truck up.
I would have loaded that truck up with all kinds of different weapons for sure, and definitely if there's the ammunition in there. Yeah. I definitely, again, I've talked about this before. It would have
looked like something on Mad Max, with just
exactly, just guns bristling everywhere. And I mean, I've talked about this before. You can only use one gun at any one given point effectively. Only one at any one given point.
Right, but you want to use something you're comfortable with.
Exactly. Yeah, but if you run out of ammunition for one, or hey, if you just run out of ammo and you got to switch over, you can do that, or you can just trade them. Again, I don't know why the writers went with this. It just seems like somebody who's been alive in this world as long as he has and is a survivalist and has been in gunfights, because we know he has, because he said he has. Mm. It seems like he would have taken more than that, or at least a different type of weapon. But that was my only beef with that.
Well, I think he possibly, this is at least in my head, he possibly went with the bolt action, because I think that would be harder to keep track of the rounds of, like, if let's say you had the bolt action and you were firing at me, I don't know how many that holds, like an M16 or
what the clip does.
Yeah, what clip you were able to spot? There's 30 rounds in that, man.
Yeah.
So like, he's out, and so but he could just keep rechambering and you wouldn't hear it. I mean, but it's speculation. I
typically most bolt actions like that hold about 5 to 6 rounds.
5 to 6, okay.
Yeah, typically. So yeah, you could say. I mean, again, the round is very powerful. So if you hit anything you hit with just one round, it's going to damage it pretty bad, especially an infected human.
Yeah.
So that's the advantage of it, but you only have so many of them.
That is true.
And it takes up time, because if you have a clicker running at you at full speed,
you have to pull back the
bolt. Got to pull it back. You miss. Oh shit! Pull it back. By the time you fire your second round, he's already on top of you. At least with the semi-auto, you can just keep shooting until he drops.
True.
So that's the advantage of even with a handgun, even with the revolver, which is, again, it's what he has. It looks like it's a Magnum, probably a 45, maybe a 357. I'm not really sure. But if with the 45 or 357 you hit it, they're gonna drop. You hit them one round, they're gonna drop. So
I will say, I mean, I don't recall it. When he took on those clickers initially in the museum in the second episode or whatever, he had the assault rifle, but I don't think he used it well.
He shot him in the stomach at one point, and the clicker kept coming. That's probably because they just have the adrenaline was pumping through the clicker or whatever.
That's true.
Yeah,
he probably was just like,
he eventually did shoot him in the head.
Yeah.
But again, those are the advantages of having a weapon like that. It's
true.
just, it can
you don't have
more stoppage power.
Exactly.
And that's why revolver.
It's more rounds for sure.
Right.
Yeah, it's worth shot.
No, also, isn't it less likely to jam? Like a revolver.
It's definitely less likely to jam. Definitely.
Yeah. And in those situations, you want something that's.
You're probably. I mean, in this episode, once he picks up the rifle from the sniper, kind of jams a little bit. Yeah, that's a bit of a jam in there. It looks like he just had a problem, like pulling the shell out. Yeah, so that wasn't. Yeah, so they definitely have a less chance of jamming for sure. They're a little more reliable in that terms, like the M16. If this is all of a sudden turning into a gun podcast.
Hey, so
I just know about weapons because I was in the military for so long. Yeah. But the M16 family is not very reliable when it comes to. It's very reliable when it comes to actually hitting something. It's not very reliable when it comes to like not jamming on you. It jams a lot. Right. So, So in terms of like it being a reliable weapons in terms of making sure that it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, it's not great. It's not great because it gets dirty very quickly and it jams up pretty quickly. So,
okay. Well, also I was thinking about like, all right, you want something that when you're on the road, you're going to be picking up ammo where you can. Yeah, true. You want something what's I don't know, the most versatile ammunition or like what's the most commonplace. Yeah. So maybe doing something like the 357. Yeah. You probably get more chances to find ammo for that.
Maybe it'd probably be like more like 9mm 45 or probably more is a little more common than 357. But because that's what most people use. That's what most police forces use. Yeah. So
I mean, they're walking through the South. They'll probably find some Walmarts on the way.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, they're definitely there's ammo laying everywhere. I'm sure.
But I was thinking about that too. About this future of like production. Kind of looks like it's at a standstill. But obviously other than like food production, I'm guessing like ammunition is still being produced.
So they mentioned that in the first episode. They said, what did they say? Was it Chicago, I think?
I want to say,
one of the quarantine zones, all they do is produce ammunition and drugs.
Okay.
Yeah. So I can't remember which one they said. I'm pretty sure I think they said Chicago.
Right.
Was still, that's what that quarantine zone's main
because it looks like no one's doing laundry in the future. Everyone's dirty, covered in dirt.
Yeah.
I was like in khaki colors. Everyone loves
and
khaki.
we were talking about the production value of the show earlier and how great it is. It's just like everything is
gorgeous.
Yeah, attention to detail is so good.
It's insane. Yeah, we were just talking about like they have one little scene where they're running through a hotel lobby or a bank lobby or whatever it is.
Yeah,
and it's such a quick, small scene.
They're in like 10 seconds.
10 seconds, and just like it looks like an aged building. It's great.
Yeah. They've got dirt all over the ground. There's dust covering everything. Yeah. The windows look like they haven't washed in obviously 20 years.
Yeah.
There's an overturned chair in a corner.
Yeah, that's just branch somewhere.
There's growth inside the building.
Something that like it didn't need to be in there. No. It doesn't change the story any. It just adds a little bit more tension.
Right.
Because now it's like they're in daylight. They want to show they're in daylight before they're going down the tunnels. It's great though.
And it's great that they're shooting in real locations, which we were talking about that earlier. Walking Dead is one of those shows that does that a lot too, that shoots in actual locations. But it seems like Walking Dead more goes to like, because they're shooting in Georgia mostly. Yeah. They'll just go to like, oh, there's this messed up building on the side of the road. Let's just shoot there because it looks apocalyptic anyway.
Right, exactly. It doesn't take a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
And the I was going to say the sets they do have in Walking Dead, it felt like they spent a lot more time in, like the prison set, like the farm.
Yeah.
Like there was these like, oh, we're going to be there for 9 episodes. So we're going to put all the money into that. This feels like they're putting all the money into something that's on for 30 seconds of film. Right.
Well, also, I think in Walking Dead, they put a lot of money into the prosthetics and stuff for the zombies. So obviously those were, that took priority over like the set, even though the sets were great in Walking Dead. Yeah. But I would just say, I would think, because a lot of that zombie makeup, I was like, that was really good, what they were doing with it.
Yeah. Yeah. That was it K&B that did the makeup for that?
I believe that's right.
Yeah. Great guys.
Yeah.
And so we also saw a couple of trailers that premiered during the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl,
yeah. We got to get to those.
Game.
Yeah, we got to get to those. We watched the Super Bowl for the trailers for Flash, not for the game.
I mean, I only pretended to like, the Eagles. Oh, my God.
Sports game is on, guys.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
Oh, what is this? Nacho dip? Don't mind if I do.
Well, I do love before the big game happened, they released a trailer for Fast Furious 10.
Oh, yes.
Yes, they did.
They were like, none of the Super Bowl thing. We're going to put this way ahead of the get people enticed. What do you guys? Hyped. Did you guys see it?
Yeah, no, I was a late fan to the newer Fast and Furious movies, and I like them. But
what took you so long?
Well, the thing was after the third one, I was like, this is kind of lame. But then, like, however many years later, they did
the fourth one,
and I was like, oh, these look cool now. But I just never went on my way to watch those
until
I have a group of friends who love them, and I was like, all right, fine, I'll just dive in and like. They just get more ridiculous as it goes on, like a cartoon.
Yeah, they were in space last time.
Right. Yeah. And
it's like,
I was like, okay, I get it. It's real fun. So I guess it's gonna be even crazier.
Yeah, it feels like Vin Diesel couldn't get Triple X off the ground as like a franchise, so he's just
tried.
Like, I'm just gonna make my these car movies spy movies now.
Right.
Yeah.
And he owns that franchise. I believe. Which is insane. Insane.
Yeah. Which I'm shocked he hasn't thought of this. It's like, why not do a crossover of Triple X with Fast and Furious?
Dual roles.
How do you
two Vin Diesels just be like, oh, I'm your long lost brother. We're family.
You say that as a joke, but that's probably we're gonna see in 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, they gotta save something for Fast 11.
Triple X.
And then I Am Groot shows up, and
I know they call this one Fast X as well. It's it could have easily been Fast XXX.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
that's the next one. That's the next one. That's the next one. And so what do you guys? And so then of course they released the Flash trailer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. I would say it was more of a
Batman
trailer.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So what's going on in DC with that is very interesting because Ezra Miller's a hot mess right now.
Yeah.
But it seems that they poured in so much money into this movie that they're just like, we have no choice. Plus they're trying to introduce so many other characters.
True. It looks really it looks big.
Yeah.
It looks like it's got a lot. I mean, they're definitely pulling a lot from like or Flashpoint storyline that was in the comic books. And it's funny watching it. I was like, oh, these are all great. And, this movie's been in production hell for, they announced this back in 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe before then. And, like, it's funny to me that, like, so much of the story points have already been done on the Flash TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I've seen that already. Oh, I've kind of seen that already. I kind of, obviously not on this scale or budget.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm really excited for it. It's weird. It's weird to be excited for it.
I'm very excited for it.
The trailer got me pumped. I was like, I wasn't expecting anything. And then I saw like, what? They brought back Michael Shannon as Zod. I was like, oh my God.
That was great.
Oof, my God. Yeah.
And I never read Flashpoint, so I don't really know. Mm-hmm. But Kara, I guess, is she in it? Or?
No. So in the Flashpoint storyline, it's not Supergirl, but there is a Superman.
Oh.
So, they go, Flash ends up on this alternate world.
Yeah.
Where because of him saving his mother, changes a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So Superman actually is like captured by the government and is kept in like a basement, in a prison cell and is like malnourished and there's like red lighting on him to keep him weak.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're flipping it a bit in the movie, and it looks like it's going to be more Supergirl is that version of Superman.
Okay.
Is what it looks like. So,
yeah.
And I love the idea of like, oh, what does the DC EU look like, the Man of Steel verse without Superman to stop Zod.
Yeah.
That
should be interesting.
Yeah, so I'm kind of interested where it goes, and you get like Ben Affleck is front and center in this trailer as well, and you get Keaton doing some awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Like we've never seen his version of Batman be that
pick
dynamic.
Somebody up and like
and of course it's like this 30 years down the line you can do a lot more, but the suit looks great. Like I'm interested to see where that story goes. Like, will we have a Batman meets Batman team up moment? I don't know.
Yeah. And so he was supposed to be introduced. Keaton was supposed to be introduced in Batgirl, the movie. So I wonder how. I'm just wondering what they did. Did they end up?
So Flash was supposed to come out before Batgirl,
right?
So initially it would have been. This is his introduction to the character, but
Flash is the introduction.
Yes.
Okay.
And at that point, Ben Affleck wasn't going to return. Because he was going through his rehab and all that, and was kind of said goodbye to the character. Yeah. So Keaton was going to be the mainstay Batman for the future. Mm-hmm. So that's why he was going to be in Batgirl, and I believe film stuff for Aquaman, and stuff going down the line. Mm-hmm. But now Ben Affleck's cleaned up, he's back. So and then we've got who knows where they're going to go in the future with, how many other Batman are going to show up. But so it looks like Keaton, I don't know if this is a one and done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the plan. I mean, there is no plan as far as I know about like a future movie project with Keaton.
The fact that James Gunn brought up like, oh, these other movies will be elsewhere movies. I think if Michael Keaton does well enough, he
might. Tim Burton.
Oh my
movie.
God!
Will they get Burton back?
Wow! If they do,
I mean, he killed it with Wednesday. Yeah. I love the show Wednesday.
Yeah. It's a great show. It's a great show. I love it.
Oh, Burton's back, baby.
Yeah.
Like if they but I think they need to let him, because there's like, well, we can't have a penguin spitting up bile and blah 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 blah. That's kind of why they didn't want him to do the third Batman.
Yeah.
Right, but
that's why we're back to being campy.
If he's not your main line Batman, he's not the one that they're going to be putting on lunchbox. If this is like a side Elseworld of like, Keaton Burton team up.
Oh yeah,
like why not?
Totally down for
that. Right.
What if he
get really weird with it?
What if he? Well, no, I guess Nick Cage is. Well, I mean, if Michael Keaton's old, then Nick Cage could be an old Superman.
Exactly.
Why not? World's finest movie.
Oh my God, that'd
Holy
be great.
Shit, that'd be amazing. Yeah. So what did you guys think of the trailer in general? As far as, do you think it showed too much or?
I think it was a good amount, because I think if you do like a teaser again, I don't think it's gonna get butts and seats. I think this was.
Think so?
I think they did a really good amount of like just peppering in like all the characters. Like, check this out, Zod. Check this out. The core ideas. Just enough of Keaton where it's not like he's not overtaking the whole trailer, but I'm gonna buy all the toys. I'm like they're gonna put out that Batwing, put out that I'm like I'm there.
Yeah.
I mean, like obviously the big question mark is Ezra Miller and their take, and are they gonna be interviewing during are they gonna be doing press junkets? I don't know.
That'd be risky, because you don't know what he's gonna do.
Yeah. Well, for I think how this movie will come out, and then however many months later he'll probably be let go. But I can only imagine.
But they won't say that now.
No, they obviously
can't. It's like they're going to promote until the very same with Black Adam. They were like, we're all in on Black Adam.
But depending on how Flashpoint ends, like what if he dissipates into the Force, the
Speed Force.
The Speed Force. Like if he just dissolves into the.
Yeah, I mean, they're in the comic books in Crisis of Infinite Earths. The whole way Barry Allen dies is he becomes the very lightning bolt that strikes him.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Spoilers for a comic book from 1984. And don't worry, he gets better. He comes back. But I think it's a beautiful way, and I know this is the final season of the Flash show as well. So I kind of hope that happens in the show, but I kind of also I kind of like those characters getting their like happy ending, if you will. But it'd be a neat way for the movie to go.
I think also that they didn't give too much. Like I think there's even going to be more characters than we saw.
I mean, there's rumors out there of obviously a lot of this is grain of salt.
Yeah,
but there's a rumor of a George Clooney cameo.
Oh, wow.
There's a rumor of a Christian Bale cameo.
I didn't hear about the Christian Bale.
Yeah, that was I mean Christian Bale's come out and said like he won't strap on the suit again unless Nolan's involved.
Right.
But I'm like, you hire Nolan to film like a scene, right?
Right.
Just hire him for like 2 days,
or just in the background, he just come pops up.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I do want to address, because I've been hearing people say, "Oh, that's Christian Bale's bike. That's Christian Bale." You're wrong. You're fucking wrong. There's 2 wheels in the front, and that's Ben Affleck's. I mean, Batman.
Yeah.
It's one big tire for Christian Bale's Batman. So get that right. Don't shut your mouth before you start speaking.
It's a gorgeous bike.
It is a gorgeous bike.
Yet again, give me the toy.
Yeah,
I want it.
And the Batwing.
Just take my money.
Just take all my money.
Yeah. Oh man,
no questions asked.
I will buy all this shit. I know it.
What if Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck do like a back-to-back?
Yes. Chris O'Donnell shows up.
I just got hard.
Oh man,
I want Chris O'Donnell to show up in the Robin suit just to be like, "Hey, I'm here, guys."
If they only were able to do this sooner,
85-year-old Chris O'Donnell.
I mean, if they were only able to do this sooner, I would have loved to see Adam West like as a Batman in there. Like,
that'd have been
let's
so great.
take care of them, guys.
Well,
they definitely should have done like cameos with him as like they did with Stanley.
I think it's a fine line because
Or
you
he could
don't
be
want to
Gordon.
be,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yes.
like the Spider-Man No Way Home thing. Like you don't want to just throw everyone at it.
No,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true.
You know, because then it just becomes a little cameo city.
Yeah.
I like that there seems to be some story of like what you know. I mean, I don't know if you saw, but there's a difference between the Super Bowl ad and the one they released online.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of the vault with all the bat suits. So there's
Mhm.
definitely like there's been time past where you see Keaton's been on multiple adventures.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think that's better because like I liked No Way Home, but it was just kind of like, you know, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield show up and it's like nothing's really changed for them.
True.
It did seem,
They were just kind of like, yeah, we're here,
yeah.
you know. So I would like a little bit more of a narrative other than how we got all these actors back to do a cameo.
Right.
Kind of
Well,
thing.
I did feel in that Andrew Garfield's character, his little monologue about, you know, I became a bit bitter and stopped pulling my punches.
yeah,
you
put
know.
him in the black suit then.
That's true. That is true. They
that
could have
is
done
true.
that.
That
That
would have
is
been
true.
dope. If like, you know, it's the moment to suit up and you just see like a symbiote take
Yeah,
over.
that would. Oh, that would have been good.
That would have
man.
been good. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Damn.
And we also got a Mario trailer.
Oh yeah.
Did you call the number?
I did not call the
No.
number. Did you?
So I did, and it's actually really great. So yeah, the Mario trailer plays. It's like a ad for their plumbing business.
Yeah.
You can go to their website,
That's awesome.
and they do have a phone number on there. It's a New York number, and when you call it, you get a message. It's an answering service, and you get Charlie Day's Luigi answering, and it's great. His Luigi voice is fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And, you know, you can sign up for text messages, blah, 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 you know. But it's a fun little thing. Like, they didn't have to do it. I thought it was interesting that they didn't go with Chris Pratt on the answering service because I was like, I think everyone's really, like, anti-Chris Pratt as Mario.
Yeah, it seems that way. Yeah.
But Charlie Day does a great Luigi, and it's very...
Is he
kind
doing
of,
like an Italian accent?
Yeah, he's throwing in a little...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's got a little accent to it.
Because from the trailers, he didn't seem like he was saying. He was like, I don't know, you know.
Yeah.
But
no, he's got a little, and then, you know, he's like, you know, I forgot what it says exactly, but it's kind of like, you know, at the Mario Super Mario Plumbing, we say, what is it? It's like let's a go, not let's a stop, or something like that. But it's really good. I mean, I'm not doing it any justice.
No, that's I'll have to call it after.
Enter sound clip here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Drop it in. Yeah.
But mainly for that, I was excited about the song they played for that commercial.
Yes.
Because
nostalgia bait.
Yeah,
big time.
Because for a while I've just been like the movie looks like it's going to be amazing, but I'm still down about the voices and stuff like that. But
You're still down about the voices?
Well, I mean, I'll probably be able to get over it.
What is it about it?
Well, Chris Pratt, I just don't like. I don't care. You could have gotten so many other people. Like it right now, it didn't even have to be Mario's voice. It could have just been like just some other. But I don't know. His voice is so high that it just doesn't fit Mario for me.
Yeah,
you know.
I could see that.
Plus with
I could see that.
Plus with going up again with Charlie Day. His character's voice is up here too, so it's like you don't have a contrast with it's just
true.
Like you have Bob Hoskins and then John Leguizamo up here, and then but whatever. I'm not gonna be a stickler anymore. I'm just gonna go with it.
Well, I mean, I'm just worried. It's Illumination, so there's gonna be a fart joke in there.
No, yeah,
Toad's gonna fart. We're just gonna hear it,
Yeah.
And then Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, where it's like But
I also, I have a 4-year-old who's just been watching Minions Rise of Gru nonstop.
Oh, yeah.
Which, man, there's a lot of fart jokes in that movie.
Yes.
And as as a parent, you kind of have to just be like, yeah, that's funny again. Yep. But I will say, great soundtrack. It's all like 70s jams.
Okay.
So I'm always like, we'll play the soundtrack
I'm not
in the
gonna
car,
say
buddy.
I don't laugh at farts, though. I do laugh at farts, but they can't be abused. If you abuse the farts, it's obviously not going to be as funny.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, Illumination is guilty of that.
Well, yeah. I mean, we'll see.
Are you guys excited for the movie?
I am, but I'm just not getting my hopes up because
I want it to do well.
Yeah.
Because then I want more Nintendo properties to be made. I
yes,
want a Zelda
exactly.
movie. I want a Metroid.
I want a Contra movie.
Ooh.
Contra.
Nice.
I mean,
although they're not technically.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't
Nintendo.
that just Rambo?
Yeah.
I mean, not exactly. It's Rambo against aliens.
How dare you?
He's got a partner with him. Rambo's always solo.
That's true. So it's more Tango and Cash.
Yeah. Okay.
So we already had a Contra movie.
Yeah, we
in
already had
1991 or whatever that was.
But they weren't up against the mothered xenomorph thing at the end. I don't know. Well,
No, I'm just.
Oh,
I'm,
yeah,
I'm casting Jennifer Lawrence as Samus in a Metroid movie in my head.
okay.
Oh,
Do it.
I like
Do it,
that.
Nintendo. Prove me wrong.
I like that.
Or you know who would be better though?
Anyone?
As Samus? Well, yes. I mean, but Emily Blunt would be a better Samus, I think.
Okay.
I
All
can
right.
see that.
Because of her role in the Tom Cruise Live Die
Repeat.
Live, Die,
Repeat.
Or,
I think
what was the actual title of the movie?
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. There we go.
Horrible
That's-
title.
Yeah. Live Die Repeat is much better. Yeah.
Funny, everyone remembers the tagline. For
Yeah.
yeah.
Which they eventually had to change. That's the actual name now. Live Die Repeat. Okay. Yeah. Still a great movie. I just want to see a Captain N, the Game Master
Oh
movie.
wow.
I love that show.
I would love to see that as like a live action.
Because that was what Castlevania property.
Yeah.
You had Icarus. You had Link. You had.
Well, I
who
think
else
they'd
was
be
on
able
that?
to do it if they did all those properties, and then
Yeah.
you have Captain N to bring
Right.
it together.
He's the Nick Fury of the
They bring
Nintendo
back
world.
they bring back the game glove, the
Oh,
Nintendo
Power
yes.
Glove, baby.
The Power Glove.
Power Glove. That's
yeah.
what it was called. Yes.
Yeah, the Power Glove, man. I would love to see that. Yeah. What was that movie with
The Wizard.
The Wizard.
The Wizard.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, they also had Mega Man in Captain N.
It's so
Oh,
bad.
you're right.
Yeah, Mega Man was in Captain N.
Mega
dude.
Man.
Is Mega Man?
Mega
does
Man needs to
fall
be a
into that?
thing.
Yeah. What is? Yeah.
I think it's like a separate property, but Nintendo
Is
did
it?
release it first or something. I
Yeah.
forget.
There's a lot of things on the NES that came out. That,
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm surprised that Mega Man's never really
It hasn't taken
jumped
off.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, it
you
hasn't.
know?
They pretty much brought back everything except
Yeah.
Right.
Mega Man. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. And so we're excited for the Mario movie. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yet again, want it to do well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just so Nintendo kind of, loosens the reins a bit and was like, okay, let's do a 12-part Netflix Legend of Zelda.
Probably won't.
Captain N.
It
Captain
probably
N.
won't be better than Sonic 2, but
I
I'll
doubt
still,
that. I doubt that.
Yeah.
And so speaking of old time things that they're bringing back,
Yeah.
we had a Dick Tracy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Indiana Jones because they had
Well,
a trailer for that too.
That'll break. Yeah. I mean, I guess we could talk about that. Yeah, that was another trailer that was. Yeah, let's go over. I mean, I am very afraid. Okay, so obviously we all grew up with Indiana Jones, the original trilogy, which we all loved. Indiana Jones we all wanted to be Indiana Jones as kids.
We all had a fake whip.
A fake whip. I used to wear an old hat around pretending it was an old fedora.
Yeah.
So and then when was it? 2008, 2009 when the other movie the recent movie Crystal Skull came out,
I think
which
it was 2007.
Fuck,
Wow.
probably
No.
was.
Jeez.
And God knows what that was.
No.
I mean, the CGI was terrible. The villains weren't really that,
They were the
impressive.
Russians.
Right, the Russians. She had a sword every now and again, which she kind of used. I mean,
I love they had to really push that Mutt knew how to fence. They had to bring that up.
Oh yeah,
so that they could have because it's like, why would they be sword fighting? It doesn't make
It's
sense.
like, well, his dad uses a whip. He's got to upgrade to a sword.
Right.
He would have had a slingshot or something.
Yeah.
like Bart Simpson.
Yeah.
Or if he just really had a gun. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that too. And
Mutt,
so
you just shot 3 people.
I recently rewatched it.
I learned it from watching you, Dad.
Indiana Jones just stares at him sadly.
It was the 40s. It was different.
I recently watched it a couple weeks ago, and I was just like, "Man, this is still isn't any good."
I don't think I've
just,
rewatched it since
No,
I saw
yeah.
it in
That's
theaters.
the second time I've seen
really?
it. That's the second time I've seen that
Wow.
movie
So
since 2008, whenever it came out.
So your quick
Yeah.
review worth the rewatch, or
Definitely not. It's
No.
just there's a part that I forgot about. I probably blocked it out where Mutt. They're having a chase with the Russians, and he gets kind of swept up into the trees. They're in the jungle, and he gets kept. And as he catches up to the cars, he starts swinging through vines with some monkeys.
oh yeah, the monkey showed
And I was
him
like,
out.
"What the
Yeah.
fuck is this?" I was like, I had forgotten about it. I probably blocked it out.
Right.
And I couldn't believe what I was looking at.
I remember being in theaters and watching that fridge sequence and going like,
well, okay, so when the fridge sequence happened, I remember watching that in theaters, and it was that right there at that point I was like, oh God, is this not going to turn out well?
Yeah.
This doesn't seem like it's going. I don't know about this one.
Yeah.
And so the fridge sequence, I was like, okay, and that's where it started to turn for me, and then it just got progressively worse from there.
I think it would have been an interesting idea what if
the villains were interesting.
Well, yes, the villains were interesting, but what if Indiana's son was like an art thief? Like, so he was influenced by his dad because he gets artifacts, but he does it for more monetary gain. And then
he
it's
doesn't
father
care about
against
the
son,
history.
cat and mouse,
Right.
like, son, you can't be, that belongs in a museum.
Yeah.
Stop
And then he's
writing
like,
better
Dad.
movies.
I'm sorry,
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, what can we say
It
about
was the
it?
50s. We got to make him a greaser.
Oh God, that was just not necessary.
Yeah,
at
and
all.
then there's aliens. Anyway, so getting back to this
They were
movie.
interdimensional.
Beings. Yeah, I forgot about
I think
that.
that was
aliens.
That was George Lucas's hand. Apparently, Steven Spielberg was like, "I am not into that."
And then, like, I remember rewatching it, and it was just like, so wait. So they enter this chamber where there's the skeletons of the other aliens.
Yeah.
But then this one is missing somehow, and then they replace it, and then it takes off. But I was like, why the fuck didn't it just take off when it was there originally? I didn't get it. I was like, I don't understand.
Well,
what's
the
happening.
head is kind of like your your fob for your keys to the car.
I guess.
like
but that means at some
there.
point it was there in that room and it got
Right.
stolen.
Maybe,
And then there's something about some conquistadors who have taken it, but then the Indians find them, the natives find them, so they take him back and bury him in the temple after he stole. I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
I can't. So it's
The
just
fact that there was no Jesus or God or some kind of weird voodoo group in there made me mad, and that's what Indiana Jones is all about.
that's what he's about, and fighting Nazis.
Fighting Nazis.
the Nazis are back in the new one.
Yeah.
The de-aging looks great. I will say
it does look good. It does look good, but I'm just worried about what they're gonna do to Indiana Jones just in general, his legacy. So there's rumors that Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who was in it, we know she plays her Indiana Jones's goddaughter.
Yeah.
There's a rumor out there, and they apparently did reshoots for the ending. Here's a rumor. Again, it's take it with a grain of salt, pound of salt. Is that Phoebe Waller-Bridge? They go back in time, do whatever they got to do because there's a compass of destiny, dial of destiny, whatever it's called, that can time travel.
Time travel.
They go back in time, and
it gotta be time travel.
And he just he steps into the past and there's just snakes everywhere. That Phoebe Waller-Bridge, at the end of the movie, Indiana Jones is erased from history. He sacrifices himself to save history, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge takes his role as Indiana Jones. And I'm just like, I just threw down my pen because I'm like, please don't let that be.
I don't think that's really going to happen.
So,
I feel like
the
end. Yeah, it's going to be like
so
she's
the
going to put
rumor
the
is,
hat on and turn and be like triggered yet.
Yeah. Well, so the rumor is that they did reshoots of the ending because people were like, "What the fuck is this?" So who knows? So I don't Plus, it's not great to see. I don't mean to bag on to make fun of his age, but it's just like, but Harrison Ford is up there in age, so it's going to be tough for us to see him
He's
at
so
that age.
spry in every interview now.
Yeah, right.
Get away from my family. Get away from my artifacts.
So yeah, I'm just concerned about what they're going to do to Indiana Jones, and just, he's a character of the past in terms of not of the 30s and 40s, but he's a character of the late 80s and early 90s, and it's just like, what is it that they're going to do with him as a character? Do
you let the character die?
Anymore?
Do you let Indiana Jones end with Harrison Ford?
I definitely think they're going to kill him off. It's just the point is, I don't have a problem with him dying in this. It's just how is his legs? Is he going to be made a joke throughout the entire movie? Because it seems like that's what they might do.
I did hear that they did take out there was a lot of old jokes about him being old, and that got all removed. Because they were like, okay, let's not keep harboring on the fact that he's an 80-year-old.
Right, and it's just, and it's
that's
not
ageism, and we don't do that here.
Not only that, it's it's just a disrespect of Harrison Ford and the character itself.
True. Yeah.
You know, just constantly just making fun of Indiana Jones. Oh, you're so old. Oh, you're so out of touch. And I'm sure that, you know, he's going to be schooled on, you know, the new way of the world at some point, you know, and it's just, he's going to be made to be this old fossil that no longer has a place. And there is a role for that, I think, within the storyline, but you can't do it too much to the point where it's like it's overshadowing the character. Because this is Indiana Jones. This isn't some nothing throwaway character.
Yeah. Well,
this is a huge part of our lives.
Keep pulling him out every decade to keep making him into 110, and he's just
and
like,
it's just
please
CGI,
kill me.
And he's just rolling around in a wheelchair, just, you know.
For the love of God.
Maybe he'll get sucked into whatever object, and then they'll put him in the warehouse where top men watch after.
Well, they already tore that warehouse up in the.
That's right.
Oh, yeah,
that
was right.
I had forgotten about that, too. I was like, oh, this is the warehouse. Oh, yeah.
Well,
I don't care about it.
What if
I like Ike.
What if this one?
Ridiculous.
What if this one goes back in time and erases that previous one from happening?
That wouldn't be so bad. That wouldn't be so bad. And is Shia LaBeouf going to be in this? No, because he's problematic now. So it's like, well, you introduce this huge character into Indiana Jones's life, his son, and now he's just not going to be around.
And that was going to be the handoff character.
Exactly.
Right?
Like,
well,
that's what they were trying to do. They were trying
to
grab
the hat at the end, right?
Right.
I think Shia LaBeouf was young enough at the time where you could hire a different actor to play an older son. You know, like. I could see that being an option, but like then you would have to, you know, like hopefully they don't cast Chris Pratt because
someone put out there that
sorry Chris Pratt, I don't hate you, I love you in Guardians, you're great.
Chris Pratt's like, come on guys,
it's like you were great in Parks and Rec, but I don't believe Jurassic Park.
We're seeing a lot of
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
Take a break. Come on, take a break.
I did love someone put on Twitter of like I forgot the actor who played Han Solo in Solo.
Oh yeah,
but he should just do every Harrison Ford role after that. So it
just seems like it. Yeah.
Just keep, bring him back for Indiana Jones, and then like regarding Henry, and just have him continue every Harrison Ford role.
Yeah.
He goes what lies beneath 2.
Exactly. His whole career is just like, man,
Air Force One,
the
prequel,
Air Force 2. This time it's a helicopter.
But they're just like they're bringing back everything old is new. They recently brought back a Dick Tracy special.
I'm going to talk about
that.
this.
Please
for a
talk.
while.
Please, yes,
because this
got
is
us through
so
it
bizarre. This was kind of dropped.
What the hell was this that you saw?
Okay, all right. So to take you back, this is a late 70s. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Warren Beatty gets hired to play Dick Tracy. Okay, he's excited for this. Right, this was going to be a gritty Dick Tracy movie in the style of like he did Bonnie and Clyde, and everyone was like wowed by this. Right,
you're talking about the one from 1990.
No. Okay, so I'm getting to that.
Okay,
so I'm talking about in the late 70s. The original guys that owned the rights to Dick Tracy wanted to make a movie. They saw Bonnie and Clyde, which was at the time very gritty.
Sure,
there's a lot, and they were like, Warren Beatty, he's going to be our guy. Warren Beatty's excited to do this.
Mm-hmm.
They flounder on trying to make a movie until 1983, where they lose the rights. So Warren Beatty buys the rights for $3 million. Okay, back in the 80s. So it's worth about $8 million now.
Mm-hmm.
So he produces his movie in 1990. Right. It does well. It's not a flop. It's, I saw it as a kid. I loved it as a kid.
It's literally the comic book.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Which, interesting take for 1990, yeah.
And, it was right after, in 89 Batman came out. Comic book, stuff was hot. And for some reason at this time, everyone was like, what comic book properties do we have? And it just turned out to be all this pulp stuff. So you got, Dick Tracy. You got The Rocketeer. You got... The Shadow, The Phantom, which is weird to think all that stuff came out in the same 5 years.
Right.
It's crazy.
And so Dick Tracy comes out. It performs okay, but there's never a sequel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Warren Beatty still has the rights to Dick Tracy, and he has been adamant about not letting go of the rights. So the original creators of the character, like the production, the guys that created the book, they have the option to do something with Dick Tracy, right? But they have to let Warren Beatty know, like, hey, we want to do a movie. Like, comic books are hot again.
Yeah.
So Warren Beatty has the option that he's got like 2 years to do something with the character, or the rights revert back, right? So he keeps putting out these bizarre interview specials as Dick Tracy. So he did one in 2010, and you can watch it online. It's on YouTube. And then he did one again this year. It's called Dick Tracy Zooms In, because Zoom is the hot new thing, guys. I don't know if you heard about it, but everyone was on Zoom.
Well, he's been doing it through his watch for years.
Yeah, exactly. But so it's this bizarre. It was on, I believe, AMC or Turner Classic Movies, so TCM. Yeah, and it's an interview with Warren Beatty zooming in as Dick Tracy, talking to Ben Mankiewicz, and Warren Beatty, the actor, talking about how Dick Tracy, the character, didn't like the way Warren Beatty portrayed him in the movie. It's insane. It's a insane 30-minute rant of an 85-year-old man in a yellow suit. It's bizarre. It doesn't make any sense. It's edited poorly. Like, it's clearly like they just filmed it, each part separately, and they're trying to splice it all together to make sense. And it doesn't make any sense.
So Dick Tracy is bitching about Warren Beatty's portrayal of himself.
Yes. So Dick Tracy was upset that he wasn't, Dick Tracy, the character, was upset that he wasn't allowed to collaborate more with Warren Beatty on Warren Beatty's movies. So during the whole interview, he splices in clips of the original, like, 1940s Dick Tracy's serial stuff to be like, that's how you do it. Look at that guy. Look how he's jumping. And then they cut to clips from the Dick Tracy movie and be like, and he's like critiquing it. He's going like, what is that? Oh, I punch a guy. He knocks out 9 guys with a punch. That's not real. You know, it's insane. It's this bizarre thing of him bitching about his own work and then also like celebrating his work. And it's like, okay, all you had to do was make a short movie or something with like you could do like an interrogation scene or something. You didn't need to do this insane elaborate like rant at yourself.
Are there any questions directed at him? Like,
there are. They had Ben Mankiewicz as like the interviewer asking Dick Tracy and Warren Beatty about the process and stuff, but it is just it's crazy.
Sorry, did I miss something? Are there 2 separate windows for Warren Beatty and Dick Tracy?
So here's how they do it. So instead of so you think about like filming this, right? You think you would show multiple screens or you'd cut from one to the other. They don't do that. It's a static shot of a television. So there's a TV in the shot, and each one's on an individual slot of the television. So on your television is a television with them on it. And they've even they add like fake glitches to kind of sync up the dialogue.
Wow.
It's insane. And at one point they just go on a rant about how kids aren't going to the movies. They just want to watch things on their phone.
So, but is Warren Beatty on one and Dick Tracy's on the other?
Yes. And they talk about how they don't like each other because they were supposed to have a lunch date one day and Warren Beatty didn't show. Wow. It's nuts. It is insane.
Do you think Warren Beatty was just writing the dialogue for both him and Dick Tracy? This is going to be genius.
It says on it that it was written and directed by Warren Beatty.
Of course.
So you think at this point he's just trolling? He's just having fun?
So. He just doesn't want to give up the rights. Right. And he's like, anyone that's like trying to make something, he's like, no, I'm going to go make an interview.
So what is it with, does he just not want anything done at all anymore, or he just wants to just do it himself?
Well, he's 85 years old.
Yeah.
Right.
He hasn't done a ton in the last 20 years.
No. And that's the thing is like, I don't know if he just is being stubborn and holding on to the rights for until he dies. Because it
seems like that.
Yeah. I mean,
I want to be buried in this Dick Tracy outfit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he seriously seems to have a love for the character.
Right. Yeah. No, he's always talked about how much he has since he was a kid. But
it's like, well, then do something with it.
Right.
Don't, do these little. I mean, it can't be cheap to make these little shorts.
It seems that maybe is a little resentful that he didn't get to play Dick Tracy more.
Right.
Like he probably wanted to make an entire series of movies. But something happened, financing. Yeah, who knows what happened? But that's the other thing. I don't understand the entire backstory of why they never made more Dick Tracy movies, which is weird because the first one was a huge success. 1990, 91, that's all you would see everywhere. T-shirts, mugs.
That was
the Dick Tracy logo with him,
that was
in the yellow overcoat.
They expected, much like the Batmania from '89,
right? Yeah,
they
the Bat logo and the
Dick Tracy to take over, and unfortunately, never really they had a line of toys that I
remember
they got canceled, and a lot I think a few figures at the final wave of it got out there, and they're worth a lot of money now, but it never took off as it always comes down to merchandising, right? And how you're not they sold. I mean, I've got a Dick Tracy watch. I'll admit it. I got a little yellow fedora.
They're cool.
They're cool. And it's it just never caught on like the wildfire they thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
This was going to because yet again it's a Disney property. Disney thought this was going to same with the Rocketeer.
Yeah.
They thought those because it was 1990 was Dick Tracy, 1991 the Rocketeer, and they were like. These are the ones that kids are gonna.
What a time!
And it's weird because they're all kind of that they're that throwback to the 40s.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that serial kind of thing, and kids weren't into that. They wanted the extreme version of things. You're talking about the 90s. You're talking about Batman in the black suit. Yeah, it's cool. And it's where every character had the pouches and a mullet.
Right.
Well, right. I mean, I don't know how kids wouldn't, because I don't know what it is, but gangsters and Tommy guns, I was all about that. When plus you got Al Pacino go, no, we gotta get Dick Tracy.
It's a great cast.
Yeah, it's an awesome
Dustin
cast.
Hoffman, Al Pacino. It's a fantastic cast.
And they even have the characters from the comics. They put them into that movie with the prosthetics, and they get Flat Top. I still remember Flat Top.
Oh yeah, Flat Top.
They did a really great job of
Mumbles.
Mumble. Big Boy did it. Big Boy did it. And then Madonna's like, Dick Tracy.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Wow, that was good.
That was really good. The face.
Yeah, No Face.
No Face.
No Face was the name.
Oh my God.
I hope you get Dick Tracy. But I don't know.
Which was a twist that the toy spoiled because
it did reveal.
They had a reveal a No Face toy.
Oh, that's right.
I remember that.
Yeah. Holy shit! I forgot all about that. Yeah. I mean, it was like we were just saying earlier. 89, 1990. That's all you see. Is Batman's logo everywhere, and then Dick Tracy. I remember seeing that Dick Tracy shirt everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody had it. Wow.
I had I forget what cereal. But it came with a Dick Tracy decoder ring or something like that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, just like the 40s. Yeah, go back to the 40s, 50s. Yeah. Wow. That's
Dick Tracy on a skateboard, it probably would have sold more in the 90s.
I mean, I'm sure it would have.
Yeah. Possibly.
I'm sure it would have. I would have bought one.
I mean, yeah. I didn't skateboard, but
yeah. Speaking of movies, we also got news of AMC chairs.
Yes.
Which is interesting.
Chad,
you want
to? All right. AMC's planning. I forget when they said they are trying to implement it, but they want to charge for different seating. So if you want prime seating, like a view of the screen, it's going to cost more money, which it doesn't make sense because you have the A-List app, which you don't pay anything,
right?
And you could sit where you like. So unless this is a way to push people to buy the app more,
right?
Or
they'll have A-List Plus.
Well, yeah, because leaving the app is it's not a great idea because it's hard to get back in. You have to wait a certain amount of time, so you're kind of locked in there,
right?
And
which is it feels like a weird move because the movie theater industry as a whole was floundering for the past few years,
right.
And it feels like with Maverick and Avatar, it's finally getting back on its feet.
Right? Did you recently see that Steven Spielberg went up to
Yeah.
It was like, hey, you saved Hollywood's
moment.
ass.
Yeah. It's a
you could
moment.
clearly hear him say it. Yeah.
And he's like, you want to do War of the Worlds 2? Come on.
Still Warren.
Which I mean, it's interesting to see someone like Steven Spielberg say that because it's true. It's Maverick really helped to get people back into theaters.
Not even that. Just during the pandemic, they were filming the Mission Impossible movie, and that whole thing that hit the news when he was, like, come on, guys, get your shit together, keep your masks on, that. It's like we want to keep people hired. That was very I was. Other times I would be making fun of, someone yelling at their crew like that. But this, I was like, I wanted movies to be saved. So I was like, no, good. Go for it, Tom.
And we just saw ArcLight close down.
It's
which
terrible.
really
I loved ArcLight.
And, and
I was an ArcLight
now
member.
it was great. The pandemic was great for drive-in movie theaters because they saw a big uptick, but now they're starting to like close down too.
Right.
True.
So it's a weird flex for AMC.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, I'm, you know, I
Yeah,
don't support it. I don't
can't.
support
No,
paying
and
more
I kind of
for
feeling they're
center
gonna try to implement it. People are gonna say to hell with that,
Yeah,
and they're gonna
just
back
backtrack,
off.
yeah.
I got.
But I would only wonder, like, if they charge different prices for the seats, are they gonna bring back or lower the prices on their concession because it's pretty pricey for that. So no one's gonna pay extra for a seat and pay that much for food.
They're not doing that.
Well,
because that's how they make a lot of their money.
They're not going to lower the prices of like the lesser, wanted seats. They're not going to be less than what they are right now.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not going to get like a $2 ticket for the end. You know?
Like, the cheapest seat would be $20, and that would probably be the third row from. Yeah. And I like the third row, so I don't mind it as much because my eyes are bad. I can't see. But
I'm gonna make mine Regal. Thank you very much. I'm not gonna.
Are you gonna get Movie Pass?
I might go to Regal and get Movie Pass now because I mean,
$3 a month. Ugh, that's their new like plan to put
Regals?
people in it. Yeah. Well, no, the movie Movie Pass is coming back, and their plan is like it's a monthly payment, but you could only see like about I want to say it was 3 movies a month, which didn't make sense at all.
Yeah, no.
So, and you have to pay, like if it's a 3D movie, you still have to pay the difference. You're not covered for that.
That's stupid.
So I was like, why even come back?
Right.
So hopefully AMC backtracks on it, and
I'm sure they will.
Yeah, they might try it for a little bit, but I don't think it's gonna go well for them.
Yeah. And speaking of movies, we recently saw The Menu and Knock at Cabin Door.
Yes, 2 good, really sad movies.
Very sad movies. So The Menu, I recently watched that. You guys had suggested it to me, so I recently watched it, and I thought, this was my initial thought of it, was this going to be like, it's going to be this kind of cannibalistic, like, oh, you're all invited to this dinner, and then we're going to hunt you and eat you.
Yum, yum, yum.
Yeah, that's
you were there on the menu. Yum,
right.
yum, yum.
And that's what I thought was like the pun on the title, and so, but it wasn't that at all. I thought it was, there's no cannibalism.
But the menu it just said Nathan on it. Yes, that's you. Yum yum yum.
With a side of fries. Yes. Yeah. But it was the movie is more about this chef's loss of vision. And how he squandered his life with his obsession for
it's really
food.
About the service industry,
right?
Which is very interesting about the haves and have-nots, and putting yourself, why do we put people on a pedestal? Versus like why are we there to serve? It's really great view on society.
It's a great satire. Yeah. So I volunteered at a food kitchen Monday nights, and we have a chef there that we hired for the organization, Hollywood Food Coalition. Check it out. Woo! And I asked him if he had seen The Menu because he used to be he worked at Michelin star restaurants. And he's like, yeah, it's he loved it because it's a great set. He said he went to go see it with a friend of his, and he's like, when we got out of there, we were laughing and we kind of just looked at each other. It was like, yeah, we just squandered our whole lives in the food industry. Because that's how he felt. I mean, he's kind of joking, but he was just. And I asked, like, is it true that it's a lot of kitchens that revolve around chefs like that are kind of cultish? He's like, they're absolutely cultish.
Well, and because of watching The Menu, I rewatched Pig.
Yeah, I was just about to bring
with
that
Nicolas
up.
Cage, and I mean, it's very in that same vein.
Really?
So yeah, if you want to check out a good one, Pig is awesome. Phenomenal movie.
Right.
There's one moment in the Pig where Nicolas Cage is talking to one of his former subordinates.
Yeah,
and he's telling him how he's wasting his life here at this like fancy restaurant.
What was your dream?
Yeah, what was your dream? He's like, I wanted to have a pub and have like pub
he's
food.
Doing like weird gastro,
weird gastro combos,
reductions of things,
And so the guy starts to tear up because like, he's not doing what he loves, and this is just
he's trying to make the people happy and reviewers happy.
Yeah.
Well, there's a scene in The Menu about with the sous chef. He comes out and he says, "Do you want my life?" And he's saying, he's like, "No, chef." And he's like, "He's good, but you'll never be as good as me.
You'll
do you want my life?"
Great.
Yeah, you'll never be great. You'll never be like me. And then he starts tearing up. He's like, "Do you want my life?" He says, "No, chef." And then he pulls out a gun and shoots himself.
Yeah.
And that's one of the courses of the. That's one of the courses of the meal.
The mess.
Yeah, the mess.
I love all the descriptions of the food and the the little chapter titles being each dish.
That was great.
So well done.
It was so great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when they had that dude that kind of was like a kiss ass.
Yeah.
Go up there and try to cook. And it's Tyler's Bullshit was the name of the man. Undercooked lamb, unedible potatoes.
You just see his heartbreak and like, I mean, there's spoilers for that movie. We're doing spoilers.
Oh,
because like I feel bad that I feel like he wanted to be there at the end for the final.
He absolutely did.
Dish, and just being like not allowed to do that.
Right.
Like what a way to take him out.
And it was really interesting how they did. What's her name's character? The actress.
Anna Taylor.
Yeah, Anna Taylor. So she was substituted for somebody else.
Yeah.
She wasn't supposed to be there. And so at the very beginning of the movie, the chef is like, "Who are you?" And we think he's asking like, "Who are you as a person?"
Yeah.
As opposed to these other people who we know everything about.
Yeah.
But he's actually asking, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yeah.
You know, and at the same
like,
time,
even her name didn't suit her.
Right. And but at the same time, he's also asking like, "Well, yeah, who are you as a person? Like, do you deserve what these people are about to get?"
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
he says like the menu's very cultivated.
Right. And as we go along, we find out that she doesn't really deserve it because at the end she finds a room, his room, where she sees a picture of him as a young chef. And
love that.
He's at some burger joint, some like piece of shit burger joint.
It's the one picture where he looks happy.
And he looks happy. It's the only time he smiles.
Yeah.
And also when she asks like, "Well, can I have a cheeseburger?" and he smiles at that.
He knows.
Exactly.
Because the whole setup was her to find that radio.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Like they were like, someone's gonna find that radio and call my guy.
Yeah.
And so the fact that she took the time to not just talk on the radio, but learn more about him.
Right.
I think that was the big like why he smiled.
Oh, for sure. And then I really like how they set it up. Like he kept asking, "Are you one of them or are you one of us?"
Yeah.
So he's like asking, "Are you one of the kiss asses or these people that's stuck in this life, or are you one of the assholes that we have to serve?"
Well, it turns out she wasn't. She was either. Yeah,
exactly.
Because
and that's
all of them end up.
Well, exactly. At the end, that's what she says. "Can I have a cheeseburger?" And he smiles and he says, "Oh, we can do a cheeseburger."
Yeah.
And then she says,
cheeseburger.
It looks so good.
So good.
She takes a bite of it and she's like, "Oh, can I get it to go?" And he smiles again. He's like, "Yeah, of course."
Yeah.
And then he gives her a gift bag.
Yeah. This is why when we came over and Stan made burgers and I looked at that thing and I was like automatically like taken back to that scene going like, "Oh, that burger."
And then I burned our house down.
Yeah.
With us inside.
It was weird when you covered us in chocolate sauce and said we were s'mores. Yeah.
It was weird. It was weird. Yeah. I said that's the dessert, and then I lit my house on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in the ashes right now.
Yes.
Recording.
A charred building.
I found it very interesting that the people at the end of the movie, when they got lit, they put these marshmallow caps and bodies on them. Then they light the place on fire because it's a s'more, right?
Yeah.
And but they kind of accepted their fate, like, "Oh yeah, we are terrible people. You're right."
Well,
like,
he even says he's like, "You guys could have overpowered us at any point."
Exactly. I love that part.
Like they knew they were guilty.
Yeah.
They knew what was going to happen, and they kind of accepted it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a great movie. It was great satire. And like I said, I asked the chef at our kitchen. He was like, "Yeah, it was a great satire on the service industry." And chefs in general. It's like he's like, "I loved it."
I wonder if the writer was like a previous.
Most likely,
I mean, they have to be.
Most likely. Yeah. You were gonna say something?
I was gonna say it dovetails really nicely into Knock at the Cabin Door.
It does.
Yes,
it does. You recently saw that?
Knock at the Cabin.
Knock at the Cabin.
Man, I hate that title so much.
It's a weird, because
I kind of get because the book.
I keep thinking Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, well, the book that it's based on is called Cabin at the End of the World.
Correct.
And I understand, like, okay, so if there's so many cabin in the or cabin, cabin fever,
the cabin,
yeah, exactly, cabin in the woods. So it's like I guess like Knock at the Cabin, it wouldn't be alphabetically. I'm thinking like in the DVD shelf.
Sure.
Because I used to work at Blockbuster, and when that was a thing, and so it's like you want to be able to find this movie, it'll be under the Knock section.
Well, what if it was like a knock at the cabin door?
You don't count the A.
Oh, really?
No.
Really?
Oh, wow.
That makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
So that movie is about it's a couple with their daughter who were vacationing in this cabin in the woods.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And a group of 4 people show up saying if they have to choose one of the family members has to choose another to die or the world ends.
It's a very specifically it cannot be a suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They have to be clear-headed about it, and they have to take someone out of the family.
And it has to be voluntary.
It has to be voluntary. Yes.
So I thought, because it's M. Night Shyamalan, I thought it was going to be another twisty.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out it's not.
No,
right.
It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Because I thought this was going to happen, that they were going to be saying, "We're a cult. or whatever.
Yeah.
We have to kill, we have to do what we have to do to stop the end of the world. And of course, the family are going to be like, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here. They're going to overpower them, kill them, run away somehow.
Right.
And then they were going to hit the deadline like, oh my God, we got away from the coal. And actually, it turns out they were right.
Yeah.
And the world begins to collapse. Because in the trailers, they did release some like end of the world kind of footage.
Yeah.
So we knew that was kind of coming at some point. And it was like, okay, that's going to be the twist. Like, oh shit, they were telling the truth,
Right.
But as it turns out, like we see from the very beginning, that it's not a cult. It's these group of people that have been having these visions of the end of the world.
Right.
They've been told what to do.
I'm so floored to see what Dave Bautista's
Yes.
trajectory is.
Knocked it out of the park.
He is so
he
great.
was so great in that. Yeah.
And like the past few years were like Army of the Dead
Right.
and Glass Onion.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He is just doing some wild
I love
stuff.
how he can be terrifying but like comforting at the same time with the
He's
little girl,
great
because you have
at
no idea
that.
what he's going to do.
Even in Blade Runner when he's
Blade
that
Runner.
small
Yeah,
part.
Blade Runner,
Right.
exactly. Yeah.
But he does this great thing of like he never yells. He's
Right.
got
Oh,
this
yeah.
really soft-spoken energy.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's just such a massive dude.
Yeah.
And he's completely, he's not shy away of showing off his tattoos.
Yeah.
No.
And you're just like, he's this presence, this
Yeah.
huge presence, even though he's dressed kind of like a Mormon.
And then he even
we
says
did-
in the movie,
Yeah.
I teach third grade.
Yeah,
Se-
yeah.
yeah,
And I
second
run the
grade.
after school program, second
Right,
grade, and
yeah.
I run the after
And
school
you totally
program.
buy it. And he's
Yes.
got that great when she's having like a panic attack and he's like, count to 5 with me. You know,
Right.
like he does care about these people.
Right.
And
And he apologizes at one point for raising his voice.
yeah, it's such a great performance.
Yeah.
And so not what you'd expect for this kind of genre and stuff. And like it's brilliant. I think he is coming out to be one of the best wrestlers turned actors out there. You know, like he might not be in as many big movies as The Rock, or like The Rock's trajectory is very like it's very planned out. It feels
Exactly.
it's like
it's very
you
action.
you gotta do the action comedy with Kevin
Yeah.
Hart. You gotta do
It's action and action comedy.
Yeah.
right.
They follow the same kind of
And I
pattern
feel
for
like
him.
The Rock at the beginning of his career took more chances.
Yeah.
Like you see
definitely.
like Be Cool.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think like The Rundown.
Rundown.
Rundown. I think that's his best movie to date still.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he took chances on his career, and I feel like now he's so dialed in of like I am this product.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
I have to be this big dude all the time, and like I'm not like Bautista's any smaller.
No.
He's
But
huge,
the fact that Rock could slim down if he wanted and be
absolutely.
like a smaller, slimmer character instead of this just
hulking mass.
and I just
But in some cases for The Rock, it like the characters he portrayed doesn't need to be that jacked.
no.
Like
there's
Red Notice, he didn't need to be the size of a wall.
No.
Yeah.
Also, his football show that he had for a while, where he was like
Ballers.
Ballers, yes.
Oh,
he didn't.
yes.
He didn't need to be super.
Right.
But
Yeah.
obviously, he was probably in between the fast movies and.
Oh, he definitely was.
Well,
yeah,
and
he
that's
definitely
the
was,
thing
yeah.
too. He's in his
Yeah.
50s, and it's like I don't think you can do that extreme.
No, yeah,
shift
it's not
at
great
that
for your
point.
body.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
like trying to put that kind of body mass back on
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
insane.
But I mean, like you're saying, he is this kind of product, so he's going to keep that. He's got to keep that physique,
That is true.
Right.
regardless of what he does. He
Yeah.
could be playing an accountant, and he's going to look like that.
Yeah.
you
Well,
know?
and I feel
Yeah.
like unfortunately, like Black Adam was him trying something different and being like,
Yeah.
I'll be the anti-hero.
Yeah.
And it didn't do well. So
Yeah.
I think
No.
we're going to see more of
Yeah.
The Rock.
I mean,
in
he's done it
action
before. He did it with like
comedies.
Scorpion King.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, in a way.
But I don't
So-
think we're going to see him do that again for a while.
Like,
it's
it'd
going
be
to be more
interesting-
Jungle Cruise kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
Well, I mean, if he went back to the Doom route, that'd be interesting. Like,
Going full villain.
yeah,
and
full villain, and I mean,
I think that was
that's
his first F-bomb. It was in there.
that's one thing.
Was it?
I mean, I love
I think,
action
yeah.
movies and I love action heroes and stuff, but I love it when a person who plays heroes a lot takes a chance as a villain
Ooh.
because that never
Absolutely.
happens a lot.
a great
Absolutely.
rock movie or a great rock performance in a good movie is Pain and Gain.
Yes,
Yes.
He
that was
is-
another one.
That was one where he really took a chance on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that movie is all the better for it, you know.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
And a great Mark Wahlberg and Anthony Mackie performance. I
oh
think.
yeah,
Yeah. Absolutely.
And weirdly, it's who directed that?
Michael Bay.
Michael Bay. That's a
Yeah.
Michael Bay movie.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. And
Check
so-
it out.
Check it out.
Check it.
Yeah.
Check that one out.
Check it out. What did you think of Cabin in the
I went in thinking, yeah,
I
they're
said Cabin in the
Knock
Woods
at the
again.
Cabin.
Cabin
yeah.
in the Woods. Yeah,
Yeah.
Knock at the Cabin. One,
Cabin in the Woods is good.
I
Great
thought
movie,
there
by the
would
way.
be.
Cabin in the Woods. Great movie.
Great movie.
Well, because what if it was a twist like Cabin in the Woods, where it was monitored? The cabin was monitored.
Yes.
So I thought maybe it could be that.
I thought it'd be a lot more, less of the actual stuff around the world you see. So, because they do talk about how cut off they are from society, they don't have any self-reception. So you think it'd be more of a moral question on their part, but the fact that they're getting all this evidence through their TV, of what's going down, I thought like, it's gonna be more of that, more of just like, is this just a cult that's making this up? Are they just bigots?
Well, and I love how it made me question, like, is this all bullshit?
Oh yeah,
because he kept saying,
scene with Redmond's.
Redmond, what I think it was Redmond.
Yeah, Redmond. Roy O'Bannon was his real name.
It's Ron Weasley. You could just call him Ron Weasley.
Yeah, Ron Weasley. Yeah,
who's great.
Who's in it for about 10 minutes?
He was calling them Muggles, and then
but
his one's way more pointy in this.
And he actually kills.
Oh yeah.
Poor
man.
Poor Ron Weasley really went downhill, dude. After that assault, that bar.
Yeah.
Who knew he was a homophobe? Sad. And so, but it did make me question, like, damn, is this bullshit? Like, maybe it is bullshit.
Okay.
And I liked how so it wasn't twisty, but you kept waiting for the twist. Like, is this all bullshit? Like, maybe they are maybe this guy's right, because one of the characters is pretty much convinced that maybe they are telling the truth.
Yeah.
And his husband is saying, no, it's all nonsense. Like, what do you mean this is the end of the world? Like, this is they made this up. They came here before this. At one point, he says maybe it's pre-recorded. They're pumping it in somehow.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh shit, maybe that's true. And I like how it made me question that.
Well, part of that, because when they showed the tsunami the first time, there was footage. They were like, here's footage of the tsunami coming in.
Right.
And it was like from someone on the beach. And I was like, wait, then how'd they get the footage?
Right.
But so I was like, they should have done that shot where it's a helicopter filming the tsunami.
Correct.
Because I just didn't.
And the person who's like, this huge tsunami's coming there, they're just standing there.
Yeah,
I'm
like, no, and that doesn't make sense. But
it was weird they showed the White House explode for Independence Day, too. Hey, that's not real.
Wait a minute.
But I was questioning the whole thing, because also, what if it was from the one father's, the one who had the concussion? What it was from? This was from his perspective. We were with him, and we were like, "Wait, can we not trust
with the lighting?"
Yeah,
in the beginning of the.
It was kind of hazy a lot of the times with some of the shots. So it's like maybe we're through his perception, we're trying to be tricked by Shyamalan, but no, it was all straightforward.
It's pretty straightforward. Actually, they're telling the truth.
Yeah.
One of them had to die.
Well, the way they reacted after they killed Redmond, like Bautista throwing up, and
all of
like
them were,
I was just like, no, this is real. I think there's something's real. Either their visions are fake, or but there's something real going on, and it's
I thought it was great. I thought well acted and really well shot.
Really well shot.
Yeah.
Beautifully shot.
I think it was one of his better shot movies
for sure.
Just compositions and shots and stuff just looked gorgeous, and
there certainly was a lot of tension in it. It's just like, what's happening? Like, is this all real, or is this again? It's just like some crazy cold.
Those planes dropping. I was like, Jesus.
That shit was crazy. Yeah, that shit was crazy.
Would you guys would have wanted to see their initial meetup, the four with visions?
I thought it was better without it.
Without it,
because it's just again with some more mystery. It's like, who are these people? He just shows up at the cabin, and then all of a sudden these other three emerge from the woods, and they're carrying these crazy looking weapons, and it's like, what's going on? Like, so you don't know. Like, are they?
And you want to be on the family
cult
side?
Exactly.
That's true. Yeah.
You don't want.
You don't want to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I certainly thought it was going to be the non-believer who sacrificed himself.
Yeah. No, I thought the other dad would have. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler. Yeah. One of the two dads died.
Spoiler one of the two.
Yeah.
Oh no, the kid got it.
They shoot the girl.
Wouldn't that would have been a twist?
That would have been a twist.
I'll tell you what, and this might be a spoiler, but that does happen in the book.
What?
The book? They killed the girl?
In the book.
I've heard. I thought I read that somewhere.
Yeah. So in the book, the ending is, they struggle with the gun. Mm-hmm. The little girl gets shot.
Yeah. But
it doesn't satisfy the deity, sacrifice, because it was kind of accidental.
Yeah.
And then the couple just says, fuck the world. Yeah. Basically. And like,
well, they say that in the movie. They're just like, well, so if everybody dies, so what? Like, it's just you and I.
Yeah.
And that's how the book ends, on this very bleak kind of ending of this, this couple just being like, we, to hell with the rest of the world. Right. Like, you took away our world kind of thing.
In the book, is it also a same-sex couple?
Yes.
See, and it was really interesting how they did in the movie because they were saying, because one of the characters was assaulted, and as it turns out, by one of the people who's at the cabin.
Well, that's this whole thing with fate as well.
Right.
Like, and it plays through the movie with the song as well at the beginning when they're heading to the cabin. It's the same song that they're playing at the end as they leave. Yeah. It's this kind of weird loop, loop of fate.
Now, well, I mean, with the one connected to them, were the three others in the book? Do we know if the three were connected to them as well through certain things, or was it just?
No, I don't think so. I think it was just the one guy, the one that which is the seed of doubt, right? Because you're like, oh, he assaulted me in the past. Yeah. He probably got you guys all in on this,
right? Well, and I like how they did. So they, at one point, they were saying, the non-believer was saying, so what? Fuck them. The world has not been kind to us because of our sexuality. Yeah. So why should we care what happens to them?
Right.
So he still got this anger, of course, understandably so, of being assaulted because of his sexuality, of being rejected. Whereas the other guy's saying, well, first of all, it's not
which
the majority of people
to get the gun, which pushes him to
to
learn to box. Which I love that the way they shot that fight when Weasley comes in. I'm just gonna call him Ron Weasley.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When he comes in and you see him get punched, like pummeled.
Yeah.
It's this beautiful way of shot.
Yeah, because like the camera's behind him as he's
and
like,
it's just
punching him.
the camera's moving with his body.
Right.
Oh,
it was good.
brutal.
It was very good. And we find out that he took boxing lessons because of his assault.
Yeah.
And that's why he's got a lot of anger towards the world, whereas his partner is a little more forgiving. And at the end says, well, if we let the world die, what kind of life is that for our daughter?
Right.
Which made sense, you know.
Well, I don't know if I misinterpreted the bar scene, because in my head we were kind of going with the other husband, where he was seeing that his husband had an anger issue. He had anger.
He did, absolutely.
And how
he enticed the fight kind of thing.
Well, yeah, because when Ron Weasley's character, see, now you got me saying it. Roy O'Bannon.
Sorry,
He
sorry, Rupert Grint, the actor. You'll always be Ron Weasley.
Always.
He was pretty much saying like, oh, hey, could you keep it down? I'm trying to drink here.
Right.
Yeah. And then the husband starts like, what's it? But he thinks, oh, is it because of that? Is it because
which we don't know.
There was no answer. Yeah.
We don't know if that's it.
And then the guy's like, oh, whatever. But then comes back and hits him over the head. Right. So to me, it was him overreacting. But I can understand that because he's probably been his parents don't even want to be around him from that one scene where they were there for like 45 minutes. They traveled 7 hours to get there. But so I can get where that came from. But I think, his anger that was already there festered that and turned that situation into something that's been his whole life. Yeah. And so that's why I was like, oh, okay. So, but so that's how I read the scene. Obviously, there's many undertones and I'm not going to get everything. But that I just thought that was a interesting way to go about it. Because he had his memory from being hit over the head, and he didn't quite remember the whole night or who it was, but his husband who was there saw it from both kind of. Obviously, he didn't quite catch the guy's face because
we don't even see it too much.
Ron Weasley just had
a lot of the violence is
American
really
sniper beard.
Was that
a lot of the violence in the movie you don't really see?
No,
it's all kind of off screen.
Even when they kill the other person, one of the
with the instruments,
one of the death. Not cultists, whatever they are.
Right.
The messengers have to die.
They were called the Four Horsemen at the
Horsemen,
end.
one of the Horsemen. Yeah.
And I was wondering if that was going to be the thing, but they went under different guidance and
it wasn't the Horsemen from the from the Bible. It was a different
one.
It was like the Pillars of Humanity. I mean, great movies. Check them out.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna come back in another 2 weeks or so, and we're gonna have a Oscar special.
Yes.
We'll have one friend on, Justin, who is a huge movie buff.
We'll all be wearing tuxes.
Wearing tuxes. Yes.
Jimmy Kimmel will host.
Rented.
Rented tuxes.
Rented tuxes. And we're gonna have Justin on, who is a huge movie buff and is a resident movie expert. We'll say,
he knows more than the three of us. I'm
definitely.
Yeah, we like movie pictures stuff.
Yeah.
And we're all gonna
review.
I
like things that go boom.
Yeah, we're all gonna review an old movie that we think is underrated.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Hook. I call it.
Yeah, you called it. All right.
And so from a movie from the 80s or 90s that we think is from our childhood that we think is underrated. I should say, not overrated.
Might just be early 2000s.
Oh, that works too.
Okay.
Just under the wire.
That works too.
I haven't picked one yet, but I'll try to off the beaten path. I don't want to be something that is predictable. So
from 1922.
yeah, a little thing called the Maltese Falcon. No, I'm not.
I thought it'd just be like train pulls into station. Thank you.
Actually, maybe it'll be in the Untouchables. I don't think that gets enough credit. I love that movie.
Oh, it's a good movie.
But we'll see. We'll see. I might change that. But yeah. So that's it for the episode. But if you'd like to follow us elsewhere, we are on Instagram as Enter the Nerdom. And I am lazily an idiot, and because I didn't make a Twitter yet, but that'll be coming up soon as well. And that's it for us with
Dan Morancini.
Watson Bradshaw. Please rate and review.
Yes, rate, review, subscribe, download. And I'm Chad Cook.
And we also will have a new introduction for this podcast.
Yes.
Ooh,
yeah. If it's not already attached to this episode, boom, 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 boom. Enter the Nerdom, exit my...